So can you tell us how do you get the idea to stay in the Gambia, not to go out as a young, most of young Africans want to travel outside, but you sit and focus, you invest back in Africa, invest in the Gambia, you're doing it. Can you share the ideas with our young Gambians or Africans out there?
So Alhamdulillah, basically, I just got to a point in my life where I realized that I was meant for more than I was actually doing, and I felt that there is a lot more to get out of this life than I was usually used to and used to seeing. So, to summarize, I got to a point in my life where I just wanted to get the most out of this life, and that was to also be able to to my people, to my family, especially to me myself first, and then to my family, and then to the rest of the people. So I there was a time in my life where I came up with the idea that I have to go through a renaissance.
Yeah.
I have to go through a rebirth to know myself a lot more, because I was going to school because basically I was told to go to school. I was doing many things because I was told to do all over the world. That got to me at a point where I felt like I have to start doing what I actually want to do.
Want to
And
do
then I
it.
started to take life a lot more seriously. And then I felt into the Quran basically.
Yeah.
Then I actually took out the essence of life from it, and that's what I basically. Um, that's how I came up with the new me.
Yeah.
And then I even had a
Can you say
definition for
that? Can
myself.
you say that
The
again?
new
You
me,
me.
basically.
We
Me.
love
So
that. Yes, love
yeah,
that.
and I came up with a definition for myself and everything. Before I do anything, I have to ask myself why.
Yeah.
So at the time, I was supposed to. I had a. I was supposed. I was inbound to go to school to different countries. One of them was the South Wales, and another was Canada, and another was the U.S. So then I had to step back and decide, okay, where am I actually going? And then the reasons didn't make sense to me at the time, so I decided to take a different path. So I have a definition for myself, like I said, that is, I am I'm a blessed servant of Allah who wants the best out of this dunya and the akhirah. That's just me simply.
Simply.
So all I want is just to get the best out of this dunya and out of the akhirah. That's all I want. So in part of understanding, I realized that in order to get the best, you have to become the best. And as you and our viewers might know, the the best of us are those who benefit people the most.
Most.
Yeah, so
That's what you are working ahead to.
exactly, just to benefit people the most. You know, give them one of those ways that we are doing it. Yes, in many ways, but one of those ways is
How are we going?
to one of those ways is to help people financially. Financially, because I believe, I have a belief that if people can actually take care of their own finances, they will be able to live their life according to the way they want to live, and which is actually, I believe, should be on the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yes.
So that's how I came up, and I realized that in order to get the finances, one of the best to go was one of the best ways to go was agriculture. Agriculture, exactly. So that's what got me into agriculture. Basically, trying to build a company that's really one of the most beneficial companies in the world. In the entire world. Not the Gambia, not West Africa, not Africa in general, the entire world.
Yes.
That's how I came to
So,
agriculture.
how many hectares are you having both left and right?
This is about 25 hectares. Yeah, but to be specific, we have 23 hectares of corn under cultivation.
Okay.
Yeah, this is about 23 hectares of corn, of maize.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, how many years you have been doing this?
We are on our fourth year officially. We are on our fourth year. So we are 3 years, about 7 months. So not actually yet to our fourth year, but yes, it's almost 4 years now.
4 years, from 4 years up to day today, because anything that you are doing in life, you must face some challenges, some difficulties. What are your challenges? What are your difficulties?
Uh, Mainly the challenges, I would say, usually I have a mindset that I don't normally look at challenges as challenges. I usually look at it as opportunities. Exactly, and try to, yeah, and try to get the best out of those those moments. So I would say that, for example, I would say all the challenges people would normally face in agriculture, and I would tell you how I have been able to overcome them. That might be a better way to do it. So one of those ways, one of those challenges is access. So when we speak about agriculture today, the main problem that people speak of is the access to land. And I it was a challenge, I could say, for most people, but not for me, because I decided. I actually looked at it. It is said that there's about 300,000 hectares of land, of arable land in the country, and we are farming on one
the
third
Gambia.
in the Gambia, and we are farming on only one third. So which means that two-thirds of that arable land is not being used. So people were saying that access to land is a problem, and I was faced with the dilemma that if access to land is a problem, why are we still with two-thirds of land that's not being used?
Not being used.
Exactly. So I to come to the rural areas, which is an abundance of land.
Abundance of
as you
land.
can see,
Empty virgin land.
empty virgin lands not being used. I mean, you can get 50 hectares here.
Yeah.
You can get 100 hectares here. You might have to borrow some, you might have to lease some, whatever you have to do, but there is no problem of access to land in the Gambia. That's just a fallacy that I've come to see. And also one of those problems that people would say, well, they're studying the access to finance and capital. Although to some level it may be true, but really you don't need finances. You don't need access to capital to start. You only need finances to grow. To grow your business, not to start your business. I mean, if you need money to start your business, then there's something wrong with your business model.
Yeah.
That's for sure. So what I did, basically, I didn't have the, but I knew that if you have the right network, or if you can come up with the right
People.
the right people, the right team, and have a good understanding, if you have a mutually beneficial agreement with, let's say, suppliers, with buyers, whatever the case might be, you can be able to do a lot of these things. So I'll give you an example of one of our first year. So we were doing groundnuts there. So a few years ago, so during COVID, so the business of groundnut was actually slow, and this was around the time that we were doing groundnut as well. So what we decided to do, as just to tell you that one of the how we came up about with multiple mutually beneficial agreements with suppliers and with partners and what all. We decided to groundnut, a bag of groundnut at the time was about $1,200. So what we decided to do was to speak with the farmers, and then we came up with an agreement that we were going to buy their groundnut, but we were going to buy it on credit.
On credit.
For $1,400. This was a time when we didn't have really that much capital, working capital.
Finance, yeah.
Exactly. So we had this agreement with them that we were going to buy for $1,400, but it was going to be on credit. It was just $200 more than they would have. They can be able to sell it for, and this was just on credit for about just anywhere between 3 to 6 weeks. So it wasn't really that much of a distance where they would have gotten a better price. So exactly. So when we got the groundnuts from them for $1,400, then we had an that would decorticate it. So it decorticated it, and the cost for us, because we owned the machine to decorticate it, was just labor and some fuel. So which was about $35 at the time. If you add up to inflation, it might be somewhere around $50. I suspect. So $35 to decorticate, and I didn't have an oil press at the time. So we spoke to. Then spoke to had another mutually beneficial agreement with a businessman who was in another village. So he had an oil press. So the agreement we came up with is that I wouldn't pay him cash to press my oil, but then I would pay him in cake, the byproduct. When you press the groundnut, you get the oil, and then you get the groundnut cake. The groundnut cake that's used in animal feeds and stuff. So I told him, look, I'll give you you can press it, you keep the groundnut cake, I'll keep the oil, and that's our agreement. And he decided, yeah, exactly. So when I was going to pay him, it was just going to cost just about a few $1,000, and I think it was about somewhere around $15,000. That was what it was going to cost him to press it. Exactly, if I would have paid it in cash. But when he had the cake and he stored it for about 2 to 3 months, he was able to sell it for and got somewhere about 3 times more than what I would have paid him. So it was a good deal for him. So that was the agreement that we came up with. So he pressed the oil, I got the oil. So still now, remember, I got the bags, tens and tens. It was about 70 time
At a time.
from farmers, and I didn't press and I didn't buy it at cash. I didn't pay any money at upfront. I also pressed the oil. I had the oil, and I didn't press. I didn't pay any cash upfront. And then I was able to sell that and then pay back the farmers and then get my profit. So we made tens and tens of thousands of dollars at that time. It was about 3 years ago now. Yeah, and it sold very fast. In fact, when we are done with the press it before it gets to combo, we press it over here and then sell it in combo. By the time it leaves URR, before it gets to combo, it's sold out. So yeah, we had a marketing and sales strategy that we put behind it, and it sold really fast.
It all works.
Exactly, and we paid off all our loans. We didn't even have any areas, and we didn't have anyone complain that we didn't pay them, because we paid everyone their money. So that's just to show the examples that I'm talking about, that one of the challenges that we as farmers or people in the agricultural industry would also face is the access to finance. But this example shows you that if you don't have the access to finance, you can still make money, you can still do business.
Why do you say that? Can you tell us?
Yeah, I'm saying that because I've seen it as an inhibitor for a lot of my colleagues that are also doing agriculture. They would tell me that, I don't have the money to buy machinery, I don't have the money to do this, I don't have the money to do that. It costs a lot of money. And I've been able to do a lot of things without paying cash, because I just come up with mutually beneficial agreements.
Yeah.
Business is a win-win. Give me your hand, let me show you something. Something really, really quick. Let's play arm wrestling. You try to take mine, try to take yours down. Are you ready? 3 seconds.
Are you ready? 1 second.
2, 3, let's go. All right. I don't want to do this to him, so I'll just leave it here. Okay. See, no one is gonna win.
Yeah, no one is.
But how about we do this? Something different.
Yeah.
You take one, I'll take one.
Yeah.
Then you can count to 5 seconds as just the last one.
So
So
you go down.
are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See? So 5 seconds. You won 3 times, I won 3 times.
Yeah.
But the first time around, you didn't win, I didn't win.
I didn't win. Yeah.
So business is just like this.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to have all the eggs, as one might say.
Whoa.
So you just have to have mutually beneficial agreements with people, and people are really, really open. We are all trying to hide. You get something really good in business, you try to hide it and show, and just keep it away from everyone. That's not what you're supposed to do.
You need to
Bring it out,
expose
it, share it with other people. You're going to go a lot further if you're willing to share. So that's exactly what we did, because we were willing to pay more for the granules, and we on credit. We were gonna have it on credit, but we were gonna pay for more, pay more to the farmers, more money to the farmers. Exactly. The person who was pressing the oil, he was gonna get about just $15,000, but he ended up getting somewhere around 40,000, if my memory serves me right.
Yeah,
because I was with $40,000. So because I was willing to give him the cake, to sell it, to keep it, store it for a few months, and then sell it and make that amount of money. So I could have decided to just pay him the 15 and then just keep the rest for myself. So every time I come with a different batch, I'll give it to him. Instead of paying $15,000, I'll just give him the cake. Yeah, and then, so this was just something we were just doing on the side, in fact, because it was the first year. Yeah. And the first year we weren't doing really that much. So that's one of the, just to answer your question, is a very long way to answer your question, but
so like
people got the idea.
Most of our African leaders, or most of our great African farmers, are to say they said agriculture is the backbone of Africa, agriculture is the oxygen of Africa, agriculture is the only way to change the narrative of Africa. So do you believe on that?
Yes, I do. I do believe it's one of the best ways and the fastest ways perhaps to change, because every nation that you know on earth first had to go through an agricultural revolution. The backbone of every finance, every economy is agriculture. Anywhere you go around the world, in any generation in history, everyone has to first start with agriculture, because it's what you have. In fact, I'll do you one better. Look at the Quran. When Allah speaks about wealth, He speaks mostly about rain. About, if you look at it, what you could derive from that is speaking about agriculture.
Yes.
So one of the ways that we can actually really, just as you were saying, we can drive away poverty and do a lot more for ourselves and gain a lot more for ourselves.
For ourselves.
One of the easiest ways is through agriculture. Now we might have to get different business models through it. Some of us might have to go into production. Some of us might have to go into processing. But at the end of the day, I do believe, yes, to your point, it is one of the ways to get ourselves out of this
Out of
cycle
poverty.
of poverty. Yeah.
Yeah, this is what the African most of we believe that Africa is poor or there's poverty in Africa. Do you get that mindset like Africa is poor?
No, Africa is definitely not poor. Africa is definitely not
Why?
poor.
Why you say no?
Africa has the richest natural resources all over the globe.
All over the world.
All over the world.
It's like feeding the world.
Africa should feed the world. In fact, Africa is going to feed the world. Africa is the only option to feed the world.
The world, yeah.
It's the only option left. It's the only nation that really hasn't gone through much of the agricultural revolution. So the only continent.
Yeah.
So it is actually, some say it is the last frontier. Some say it is the next frontier.
Yeah, it's the last victory to celebrate.
Exactly.
Yeah, because everyone will love to come and live in.
People
If
are
you started, people are coming.
People are coming. People are coming.
Yeah, so what will be your biggest advice to our youngsters who are growing up? Because most of them are trying to gain this back way to see themselves in other side of the world. And west side of the world, they want to come to Africa. What would be your powerful message to them to stay home, let them focus into agriculture?
Usually, I don't necessarily like to give that advice that sort of advice. What I like to say more is to people is that be at a place where your head is.
Yeah.
Be at a place where your head is, because if your head is in the country here, you're gonna really make great things for yourself.
Good things, yeah.
Yeah. If your head is over there, you're probably cannot make too much here, because I've seen many of my friends go through the same thing. They had good things going on here. They had good businesses, and then they had to leave. And after 5 years, they still haven't gotten exactly what they want over there.
Yeah.
And sadly enough, you could see that these people were bound for success over here, because they had businesses actually thriving over here. Although it was on a small scale, but if they had stayed 5 years more, if they did the 5 years that they did over there, if they had done it here, they would have definitely been one of the biggest businesses. And to drive my point, one of my friends, Babu Karanjai, shout out to him if he's watching. So
Babu Karanjai.
yeah, he's into fishery basically. He's in the fishery industry. So there was a time where he wanted to travel, and I was telling him, look, there are opportunities here, so you don't necessarily really have to travel if you don't have the resources. So you just have to believe that there's enough here that you can get done. And at the time, he was telling me, he wants to get into fisheries. Just fast forward, that was about somewhere around 3 years ago now.
Yeah.
And he now has a business and partners that he's doing it with. And the last I checked, he was telling me at some point they were making somewhere around $80,000 a week. Per week. That's turnover, not profit. But even if it's like, let's say, somewhere around 10% profit margin, that's $8,000 a week. If it's 20%, that's $16,000 per week.
Per week.
Profit. So imagine,
Yeah.
had he gone out, you think now definitely he was telling me once that his mom was telling him that there's this opportunity that arose that he can apply for or pay for, and then go to I believe like the US.
Okay.
He told his mother, no, I'm yeah.
After the rain, you do this only in the rainy season, or after the rainy season you keep on farming, or you just take a break after the rainy season?
Yeah, for now all our production is rain fed. Yeah, but this year, inshallah, in about 3 months, we should start producing it year round, which would be somewhere around, I believe. The plan is actually to get it going, to get the irrigation, the production on the irrigation going by February. So that's the plan. So we will now be producing year round.
year round.
year round.
That's
Yeah.
your dream, because you at the beginning you were like you want to feed the whole world, not only the Gambia, not
Yes.
only West Africa or Africa
Yes.
itself, but the whole world.
The whole world.
So are you ready in case if people, because it's very hard for one person with your crew out to feed the whole world in it. But are you ready for the investors out there who want to invest into agriculture to make a joining hand to you, support Africans, support the whole world?
Yes, we definitely are, and not just the investors, but even farmers in general.
Yeah.
Every single one. You and I were speaking before, and we were talking about the
Before we
ecosystem.
yeah.
Yeah, and we lack the ecosystem to actually take agriculture to the next level in the country. It would be very hard for us to do it without the proper ecosystem. So you and I we were talking, and we were giving the example of
Yeah, the
the
samples.
feed mill and the poultry farm.
Yeah.
When the feed mill doesn't succeed, the poultry farm is in trouble. So the
Of
feed
course.
mill has to succeed for the poultry farm to also succeed.
Yeah.
So that's the beauty of agriculture. We all have to do this. It doesn't take one one company, one entity. It takes all of us together.
All of us.
All of us together. And one of the ways in our business model is actually we have we've developed. I wouldn't say it's a new way of farming, but it's an adapted way of farming in the country itself and for Gambia, for the rural areas. So this is rent fed, and it is about 3 hectares. So what if I told you that this whole thing was planted and weeded and cultivated by only 2 people?
All these 22 hectares.
All these 23 hectares.
These boys behind us.
Exactly. These 2 boys were the only 2 who planted this whole thing, and they did it with only a simple machinery. I mean, when we speak about machinery, people always think about tractors and whatnot. Not all machinery, or when we say actual mechanization, actually. So everyone talks about mechanization. Mechanization doesn't mean heavy machinery. It just basically, these were some of the machines that we were using, and it was basically a walk behind tractor. That's what we're using, and it has a planter attached to it, and that's the only machine that they use to plant 23 hectares. 23 hectares, and we're
That's
planting
the power tiller, yeah?
exactly. That's the power tiller. So you take the attachment at the back out, the tiller out. You can put in a corn planter,
Yeah,
a maize planter. You can put in a groundnut planter. So you don't have to use cows and horses and oxes and whatnot. You can just use the power tiller. The power tiller can plant, it can cultivate, it can harvest. It can do a lot more than that. In
A lot
fact,
of things, a lot of things.
the engine on the power tiller
It
can
can
serve
lead
as a
and then-
motor for irrigation.
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily have to just have heavy machinery to say that you've mechanized.
That's
It's a
it.
concept. Yeah.
Definitely to be frank enough. So what would be your powerful message to our viewers out there in case if somebody, because there are people who are out there, they want to invest into agriculture, but they don't have the right people, or they don't know what to do or how to start it. What would be your powerful message or your advice to them?
I mean, have courage to start. It takes courage to start. Start small but think big. And I think one of the two most important things would be one to be consistent. I've seen a lot of people come to the country, start businesses, invest, and then after a couple of years or a couple of months have to go back, and then come back again, go back again. It cannot work like that.
It can't work like that.
Can't work like that. You really need to stay put for at least 3 to 5 years. To be in the field, you have to be on the ground, man. You cannot do this sitting elsewhere.
Like WhatsApp farming.
Exactly. WhatsApp farming, exactly. So you cannot do WhatsApp farming. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
And that drives me to the second point, the second most important thing, which is delayed gratification. You have to be willing to put in the work now for the result tomorrow. Farming takes patience. It takes patience. Building a business takes patience. Doing anything that's worthwhile takes patience. It takes time. So you have to put in the work today to reap the results tomorrow. There's a saying from a motivational speaker who says, if you want to have tomorrow what others wouldn't have, you have to do today what others wouldn't do. Wow. And that's basically That's the point.
So can I ask you, like, since 4 years back, up to date today, how much do you invest when it comes to agriculture?
I mean, I wouldn't like to put in numbers to
Okay.
the publicly right now. There's a reason for that because we have a this whole the plan that we have, the business model that we're trying to set up. Like I said, it has to. We are building the ecosystem in the country.
Ecosystem.
I believe that once we have the ecosystem, one who can build the ecosystem would reap the most in agriculture in the Gambia.
So are you planning to do mixed farming?
Not necessarily, not
Okay.
necessarily.
You want to
So
focus into only
What's your
maize?
mic?
uh,
Okay.
Uh-huh.
so I don't necessarily like to say numbers, but that's due to the fact that our business plan is spread out between for 10 years. So the plan is actually from 2021 to 2030. There's a 10-year plan, and right now it's too early in the strategy to say. Like I was telling you about the ecosystem, that's what we're trying to build. Because I believe that without it, we really cannot do much of a change like other countries can in Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like Kenya,
exactly. So
Nigeria,
exactly those places, Uganda,
Ghana. Yeah.
Ghana. I mean, they have the ecosystem set up, so we don't have it here. We're gonna talk more about the ecosystem, but just for now, what I would say is that I believe that if any company that can be able to build this ecosystem would have to probably reap the most rewards in agriculture. That's my belief.
Yeah,
That's my belief. So we decided that we were going to take it. And speaking of delayed gratification, I mean, it's a 10-year plan. We are just at 2024.
24.
We have 6 more years to go. So inshallah, by the time we get there, the plan, like I said, is to get to 1,000 hectares under cultivation for 2,000 farmers on the Sibda Salam.
Wow. Can you say that
That's
again?
the plan. To get to 1,000 hectares
Yeah.
for 2,000 farmers on the Sibda Salam.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
So-
that's the plan.
Well, a lot of followers out there, they are watching us.
Subhanallah,
Yes.
made a mistake.
Wow.
I made a mistake. So the plan is to get to 1,000 farmers and 2,000 hectares under cultivation by 2030.
By 2030.
By 2030. That's the plan we have. That's the goal that we have. That's the goal that we've set, and inshallah, we will get there.
So it's like 6 years.
6 more years to go.
Yeah.
6 more years. You come here again, we'll have 2,000 hectares under cultivation,
Wow.
or at least 1,000 farmers on the Sibda Salam.
MashaAllah.
That's
May Allah help us, you know.
I mean,
And can you talk to our people out there, most of the zoning case, so that they can understand this year? Yes, in zoning case.
oh, okay,
Into
okay.
and then, yeah.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullah. Soninkara suro ngang nakasukunyi ni. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Lenki loki chal nyan lo bangi no kunyi ado nice Gambia princess as Fatima Jajo. So alhamdulillah igado kunyi oda duran koyi dangani. Makka koyi dangani alhamdulillah. Mashallah. Baraki ga mga kita me nanduro ko to nyarita duro ko tayo nyari bare kesu alhamdulillah oga mogobe yirigi alhamdulillah oga kibe so ay katta kame kacce makanya na suyi alhamdulillah kanya ga kumbe inshallah maka khose wati mpaka kinya kita alhamdulillah so inshallah katta ko isiki do ona maka khose njopana khalatu mo be yirigi alhamdulillah ku golle ke suni masinya wala masinya utunati masinya da bo masinya da su dabar masinya na hadana inshallah masinya na makka kisu makka inshallah so ko ngara ko mo be duro tay nyen xibare ke khala duanga bonno da inshallah so watini noari l'hôpital ado Fatima inshallah.
Yes.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi to friends and family viewers out there all over the world. Big up to my people at the countryside right at the moment. Big up to every farmer in Africa. Stay tuned and focus with Gambia, the best outer race we lead in the Gambia, and always follow. Subscribe, basically like the video. Make sure the four corner of the world see this video. I am Lucky Child, and then he is Musa Silla, Princess of Nice Gambia, behind the camera right at the moment. So call him right now with this number right at the moment. Talk to him live and direct. Bless up. Thank you very much for taking your time watching. Call this number. Call it right at the moment. It will be on the screen. Can you read your number?
392-9376. 392-9376.
Thank you very
Assalamu
much.
alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum ara musorin ko daga kunyo daga khanta yo na ta kala nya hamenye mungu yenta no gondi oke diga mani kan har so wani diga mun kala so ke be khibaru ngaya ke lengi seri na muro ma pro no tirindi ke giri ma ser kunda na li no tirindi awa jabi ni inshallah wadni ala ngani tirindi ke gemoyi ali ngoda daro ma yo har sa diga mani kan wani diga mun kala sidira salam kompani ke be khibaru ngaya ga makka ke be so awa diga mun kala ke makai lengi on tama kante ke de kha alhamdulillah wati kan den ka karanga suni bane yo ibi gani problem ngata diga menya ni akote na mani ho alamare me anga duna no kusuta annan durogodo o durogodo en palle serenda gile ma ser kunana li no gutirindi kendara yanto gu avale on do gu kangala wara serenga gile ser kunana li no gutirindi oda golle nya dabari yo wa konno sarangule le men julangani silami le men julana mare me anga no kusu durogodo anga adwara no kusu durogodo da Allah an kapanga anga Europe ba anga serkunda ba anga sabi ba anga debetanari ba durogodo Allah ka hanga anga ma durogodo Allah da kapanga Allah da ho ya bagani lenyigo manan golli anga na golli anna hokita anna duna anna soronna rafa okude ke compagnie ko video hana ngara ko na kala mo gombe ora jopa tiga crochet nyai odala tiga crochet nga oni tiga ngursi na ru wuro no goni mesa kilanu ngana gabo ogri ke ngawri mara kan ko ora mara kan ko bo ora mara kan ko bo ma xaw nga kinyene ori sogo ogari sogo ora kamero makka sogo kamero kacha sogo makanga kamero kacha sogo makanga so aswadu kenge bet horo rei duro ko dem balo kurante kenda masinu nyani masinu ko ga igolle nyani mani ho anda tampini masinge da tampina to anda nyima tampina yo ora kenya ko na kala mareme durogoto nyana sababu no dambe ange na iduna de amakara ange na iduna di anda gollini dunai miri nan khora kenda dunari nan khora kenda angan kusu durogoto ke khalisi ya kitini anu kusu dambe Europe ni ba Gambia ni ba jamani tanani ba durogoto rek angana durogoto alla na kinanga ana fam ko kubos ke ga compagnie ke jopana abane kotiani ana ham aduduro ko denda bari ma ko kusoro seki kapidi oda golli aga agenga mbaki na kanen jiti o kurande joinne amaro ga ka hay o galo na kanen jiti kapai ala nanya alhamdulillah wala makake bedi makake su kawai me keda asu kawa makake su kawa faida angawa wala ko sanda dallana anaya mo su wakono yara mare men jura anga dunano kusui ko hajuna soronya ro benu ga gollidi o hajuna soronga benu ga sogono o gale wodi ngolle harsa because compagnie landa siki jamam balle golle nga jamanya na dingene ana fam golle jamanya na dingene o wa ken sababu danga no wasuru nyaga na se sungana le gollini ono manunga no ando no marungudu anno kol oda nangol anga Gambia anda Gambia ba annali oda nangoli ana fama digamen ni Kenya rek o ku golle ke an kebe me number 1 golle ke anduro godona yo angara golle anga o golle ke di anduro godona hilani ngani be me onda ngudo golle ke di anduro godona o golle ke o kula sera namu benu wala soronga kawgala sera namu benu kunya kitande on kotenni o kula onda serebe wutu nan focus o golle ke bane anan duro goto o golle ke bane alanda nyino golle ke di anga golle tane because o golle ke awoy nya khore na golle nya gabeni burbur so alanda ken hotana dingene golle ke anga di anga kundu o kundala en ken o wala sera namu benu onda ngutu antele ngono golle ke ay ana fam antele ngono golle ke ay ko o bosu ngatele ngono golle ngam gombe ko ku minu gatele ngono golle ke mo gombe onda lay serebe ni wala anantele ngono golle ke kunu nyen ana fam mare musoni ngona kenya ko na gala duro kote asire yani duro kote ni hoy asire yani angana duro koto duna alla wakapanga la gara na kahanga igo granda ngolli alla gara nyonki chahande granda ngolli sire magi yakhiranga wallahi angana golli ni sere sunti yakhiro nanga kanga ne sakanku ngu kenta lagari anta dumini sere suga nkunu anta kawana sere suga nkunu timesu anta kawana hari nge me be gani nge wasikanya kame ngasi kanyira kadenga ngawana nga kamo waya nga golli ni alla ndandi stop no alla ndandi stop no anga golli ni anti nyaga anta nyaga anda sa gullo no so kenga bedi anga mala soro kuni ya gella nga gri anangolli golle ni hoyi tambiyen qoryan anga na tambilen ko kumana antumana anga tambilen ki kumana antumana allimina walla wahi gabeda firma gabo mendi gri anangolli gri anna wardo soro nga be nga golle ndu yang kharamu ni go anangolli makante ami wesi makalle me nga umbonon yigo anda europe kitaba anga na golli ni alla nga jago ngasa wallahi hanyana wo yana madaga europe so kende waybe ko na gadanga ni so he arande bakaro wakendo ka payari kanu kuga mo gombe so he ngana buwadi kaga be waybe ne so he nyand osuturi so he ay lo kinya ke sigirai godo habanu nyadi ogodo kisimanu nyadi orande balla kenga yo surunga ken konno sakas usran kulu nandi so he na ga bakayla so he yigo so he ngana bugadi kunu anke be gadni so he na bugadi so he ngana bugadi su kakanga waybe ne ke so ga lo suturi ke so da place gabe nya sudu kanu kuri pe ganta to anna ken famu so he arande warne wala garni kata so he nya gadi because ariku tibabu banna khorbe no ga europe ni america ni suway so ko biranu nya ko woni ga sokono so ga gila america nali africa yere nali so ken so gelante bakari arande bakari amare me giri awardo sorunga nangolli so gelante bakari so gen pay kapé sasaye ala famu ukuga mo gombe o korti waga meya wallahi o korti waga ya puru ona kamoyli kacce soko saran kulun juna wari ndako video hanandi kamilo tankarage o kamoyli alla ngana dungi inshallah waga alla ngana ko yonki nchahandeni ona kenda bari ne ya yo mare musoyni ko kenya ni o wa sikke gara yere because digamin ni wai amani wa khote nyani ibiga ko kemogo yo ga wa ko na mare men judangani honda sire mauna alla maga manji kelo siredi wallahi ma hanji kello siredi anji kello alla da yanan kunu alla garaga magara nyongin sahandi alla be gara nyongin sahandi duro kote nyanto kange ma sakanga nya yigonga gri annangolli ngone gri annangolli ngida gri annangolli serendi yakhiro nanga anga mala serendi yakhilla nga gri annangolli yigo anga na golli ni suruguna respect na serenda logono khata am sunku tam kenyi nangani sere men taka kawana nga dunade so waken konno waken koto ni seren juma antere amatere ba duro goto rek Europe ni ba Gambia ni ba Senegal ni ba duro goto angana duro goto alla nani hondinya inshallah wasika kala yere wa tata nai